Welcome to the Nonfiction Shelf here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Once a month, I feature a nonfiction title that I've read during the current month. This is the second of the 12 nonfiction episodes planned for 2019. If you enjoy this episode and want to see what nonfiction title I'll discuss next month, please subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. I am your host, Tamara Ford, and if you'd like to chat with me about the book reviewed in this episode, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shelf Addiction. A quick note before I get started, if you enjoy this show and the content that I produce, please consider supporting the podcast via Ko-fi. The links for everything related to today's episode are below in the show notes. So let's jump into it. This month's book is a memoir entitled We're Going to Need More Wine, Stories That Are Funny, Complicated, and True by Gabrielle Union. The Kindle edition is 272 pages and the audiobook edition comes in at 7 hours and 48 minutes unabridged. Published on October 17th, 2017 by Day Street Books and Harper Audio, respectively. Okay, so because this is a memoir, it is Gabrielle Union kind of telling her story, and it's not a self-help like, the book I talked about last month. So I'm going to treat this a little bit differently. I'm kind of going to just talk through it as I'm talking to a friend, and I'm going to tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, and just my general vibe from Gabrielle Union after reading the book. Again, this is her stories, good, bad, or indifferent. This is her life. She wrote it, and she narrated her own audiobook as well, and we'll talk about that some too. Now, why did I choose this? So first, I wanted some variety. I didn't want all self-help books because that's not something that I would enjoy. So I wanted to mix things up with a memoir here and there throughout the year. So I decided to start with her because 3 months ago, I feel like it was mid-November, I saw a YouTube video that featured Ellen Pompeo, who plays Meredith Grey on Grey's Anatomy, Emma Roberts, who has been on American Horror Story in the Coven series, Gina Rodriguez, you know her from Jane the Virgin, and then Gabrielle Union, of course, and we know her from TV and movies. And they were talking to Net-a-Porter about big television diversity, about women's pay versus the men and seeing diverse people on the screen and in the room. And this 24-minute conversation really made me want to see what else Gabrielle Union had to say. Because I really felt that all three of the four ladies really had a lot to say. Emma Roberts was a little quiet, but maybe she just didn't have anything to add. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. But regardless, Gabrielle Union and Ellen Pompeo and Gina Rodriguez, they really drew me into this conversation. And because I knew that Gabrielle Union had a book, I wanted to give it a try. So that is how we got here. That is the why behind me reading this book. Now, going into it, I will also be completely transparent and tell you, before I saw that video, I had heard nothing but bad things about Gabrielle Union. I had made some assumptions based on things that I'd heard in the media, and that affected me seeing her on the screen. I actually wanted to watch Being Mary Jane, that she's really well known for right now. And because of, me feeling meh about her as an actor, I hadn't watched it. So yeah, there's that. That's neither here or there because we're here now. And I'm glad that I read her book because I actually like her better as a person now that I've read her book. And sometimes it goes the opposite. You know how sometimes you read someone's story or you hear what they have to say about themselves and you kind of just I don't really like that. But I feel like reading this book gave me more insight to the persona that we think we see on the outside. Like those, feelings of she seems standoffish. She seems kind of rude. I heard these rumors. And then to hear what she has to say for herself, put all of that into some perspective. Don't get me wrong. I'm not on the Gabrielle Union fan club or anything, but I could just appreciate, what she had to say. And it gave me a new way to look at her as a person. So this book was fast paced and it was pretty short. I listened to it on audiobook and I think I listened at a speed of 1.25, I believe. So Gabrielle Union did a great job narrating her own book. And I'm so glad that she did because I could hear the inflections in her tone. I could hear when she was trying to be ironic or funny or sarcastic. And I'm not sure how that would have translated on the page because, when you read a book, you kind of use your own idea of what you think she's saying on top of the words. Just how when you read fiction, you visualize the world, you visualize the characters, and they always say no two people have read the same book because everyone's image in their mind is different. And I think that's true for memoirs as well. So when you hear the author's voice, the person who wrote the book, you know how to interpret that. You know how to take it because you can hear it. There's no misunderstanding. So I could appreciate that. And I think that was something that led me to enjoy it even more. This story follows her from when she was young until kind of present day. We get to kind of learn about her experiences being a young girl growing up in a school that's mostly Caucasian and then going home, to an environment that is very Black and, having to kind of balance those two personalities, deal with those two kind of different situations. We hear a little bit about, her home life and her father and her mother, her experiences as, she's grown up, like some of the things that she kind of made some assumptions about and went along with the crowd about. She kind of prides herself today on being really honest and brutally blunt about things that she might have done wrong or said wrong or thought wrong. And I could appreciate that in the book. I could also appreciate how funny she is. She's way funnier than I thought she would be. I had a lot of, laugh out loud moments, and there were other times where I kind of really felt bad for her, and there were times where I really felt that I could relate in the way that you can as a Black woman in America, just to be really frank about it, because it's true. We all have stereotypes that we have to deal with when people look at us, and Union does a good job talking about that and sharing stories about that. For example, she talked a little bit about how people perceive her, and that really kind of resonated with me in the fact that I don't think I come off as a naturally charismatic person. I don't think that people see me and instantly think, oh, Tamara is so cool. I think that people don't see me as sweet and approachable. And that's kind of like Gabrielle Union a little bit. But I am sweet and approachable. If you talk to me, once people who know me will tell you. So I understand, being judged, by maybe the way you look when you walk or, your face, that is literally just your face. Like, it's just my face. I'm not trying to make a face. It's just, it is what it is. Or whatever. And I kind of could agree with her on some of those points, and I could relate to her because I kind of did that myself, as I mentioned earlier, in regards to her. I made some assumptions that I probably, shouldn't have. But what I did get from that, even though she doesn't want you to assume anything about her, is based on her experiences. It kind of explains why she doesn't like to be approached in public, why she doesn't, have the patience that some stars do with photos and autographs and things like that. I would not approach her in public. I just wouldn't. In a public setting, I would let her be on her way. I would not recommend you approach her. Not that she would be mean to you, but when you read the book and you learn that, she was attacked when she was a teenager and she worked at Payless Shoe Source. You remember that place that's closing right now? When she works in Hollywood, people are constantly touching you and getting in your space and maybe not even touching you in a way you want to be touched, kind of taking advantage. But all of those things combined, she just doesn't like to be all friendly with people like that. And I can't hate her for it. But again, this is my interpretation of the book. I enjoyed that she was able to share her fertility story with us. That's a hard thing for a lot of women to talk about. I don't have any children, but I could appreciate, her going through that, and I appreciate her sharing it. And I'm sure women with fertility issues would as well get some benefit out of hearing her talk about her situation. I also did like that she did share, her first marriage with us, and she kind of talked about Dwayne Wade a little bit. And, there were some really fun anecdotal stories there that I could appreciate, when, like, one of them would be, whoever makes the money makes the choices. That is a true statement. I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you who makes the money in my situation, but it is kind of true. Who, the person that makes the most makes the decisions. And that's kind of how her relationship with Dwayne Wade is a little bit. He makes a lot more money than her, which she openly says. She has no problem saying that, which is kind of funny. I can appreciate that. So, she gives a lot of anecdotal things. She talks a little bit about her stepchildren and, just family in general. And even friends, she made some comments about, her friends and prioritizing work over friends, and just the way she puts all these little stories together. They really sound segmented, and they kind of are, but for some reason, the order in that they are told, it just comes together really well, and it's entertaining at the same time. She is so blunt and forward with these stories. They are so candid that you may even find yourself cringing at times. I know I did. She just is unbelievably honest about things, even things that don't make her look good, even things that make her look a little ignorant. But the best part of it is that she learned from that, and that is, I think, what we should take from her memoir is, we all make mistakes, and we all have to internalize them, think about them, and learn from them and move forward. And it's a really solid memoir. It's raw, it's engaging, it's fast paced, all of the things that I enjoy when I'm reading about someone's life. It was super easy for me to read, and I definitely recommend it. With that said, I'm rating We're Going to Need More Wine 4 out of 5 bookmarks. So if you are like me and you felt a way about Gabrielle Union, I definitely think you should give this book a chance. It might actually be even a little bit funnier if you actually have some wine in your hands. And if you did read the book, let me know what you thought of it. Did you agree with me? Did you like her better after reading this book? Did you like her narrating her own book? I would love to know those things as well. So we're going to end things there because I literally could ramble on for another 10 minutes about all the fun, unique things that she divulged in her memoir, but I'll leave that to you to read it for yourself. And you can even comment and let me know what you thought the funniest or the most memorable thing was from this memoir. All right, readers, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will catch you guys on the next book chat. Happy reading. If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.